Okay, this is being recorded.
All righty. Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the next installment of Artivism, the Power of Art for Social Transformation. We are delighted today to have two of our undergraduate students, Kaylee Fong, who is a criminal justice major and psychology double major, who is also the president of the Criminal Justice Club and has helmed the ship over the past year, organizing and rallying the troops in order to put on some really, really exciting programming. She will be introducing Rowan today, and I couldn't be more delighted to welcome these two wonderful students. Kaylee?
Thank you so much. So I'm just going to say a little bit more about myself. Currently, I am an intern at the Suffolk County Drug Courts, where I learn about the Judicial Diversion Program and how they work with people who have committed misdemeanors and or nonviolent felonies. This program's main goal is to help those with substance use issues by getting them into treatment and keeping them out of new criminal charges. I am all, so it has been a pleasure being involved with the Artivism Club on behalf of the Criminal Justice Club too, since we have worked alongside them many times to help raise awareness on social and racial issues in the US and around the world. An event that we helped co-host with Artivism was Wearable Art for a Purpose, where the Criminal Justice Club made posters that spoke on issues relating to gun violence and abortion rights. You could also follow us on Instagram. The handle is Adelphi CJ. So now welcoming Rowan Mckiernan. She is a senior double majoring in psychology and criminal justice and minoring in sociology at Adelphi University. She is also currently in her freshman year at Adelphis Masters in general psychology program. She co-founded and is currently co-chair of the Artivism Club here at Adelphi University. She hopes that her poetry and work through Artivism will help others find their voice, give them courage to use their voice, and encourage others to never stop fighting for what they believe in. So thank you for being our Artivist today.
Thanks, Kaylee. Hi everyone, I'm Rowan. As Kaylee said, I am a senior psychology and criminal justice major. I'm also in the 4+1 program. And I did co-found with another student the Artivism Club in spring of 2021, I believe it was. We co-founded the club and started the club, and we've been around since then. And this is kind of going to be my story and how I became an artivist. Unfortunately, I don't have a PowerPoint because I'm not a picture person, so I apologize. So it's just going to be me. But so a little background as to how I started being an artivist. So I always wanted to make a difference somehow. I never really knew how to start. Like, people always tell you, oh, you're going to do great things, but they never tell you where to start. And never in a million years did I think that I would have been a part of something like this. But I got into artivism because I like to help people in need, even if that puts me out in some way. And at the beginning of the fall 2021 semester, I received an email from Dr. Leaks stating that the Artivism Initiative had needed volunteers for their student ambassadors, and ambassadors would speak roughly 3 minutes, introduce themselves, the work they've done, and then they would introduce the speaker. And Dr. Lake had said that they really needed students, and I really didn't want to because I'm not a public speaker. But it seemed like a really good thing, and they really needed the help. So even though my anxiety said no, me, because I don't listen, was like, why not? So I reached out to Lake and I told her, against my better judgment, that I would do it and that, it wouldn't kill me to do it. So I did it. And Dr. Lake and Professor RG and Carolina, with a lot of encouragement, had pushed me to post my poetry because my artivism is that I write poetry. Poetry helped me through a lot, and that's my thing. So I said that I would be an ambassador and that, I write poetry. This is what I do. And they convinced me to put my poetry online. So I made an Instagram and I posted my poetry, and I was the ambassador for one of the Artivism initiatives. I did it for Kaylee, who's a filmmaker. And that's how I started. And it was something I did, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the opportunity, and I did it. I planned on it being a one and done, but I just kept going with it. It's a really great experience. So that's kind of how I got started with it. but I'm really glad I did it. And, Artivism, it's important to me. Artivism is important to me because I've always wanted to make a difference, but I tended to be on the shyer side, not to mention like I have really bad anxiety and social anxiety. And speaking up for what I believe in, speaking out against injustice, using my voice, it was something that I had always wanted to do, but I could never get myself to actually do. Although growing up, I was always taught to speak up for what I believe in, I was never really taught to speak up for what I believe in. Speaking up for what I believed in was only encouraged when my beliefs mirrored my parents. So I was like, have a voice, but don't. So artivism is important to me because art gave me a voice when no one else would. Art helped me out a lot when I was younger. When I was in high school, my favorite teacher was my ninth grade English teacher. And I remember specifically having a poetry section, and I hated it. I hated poetry with a passion. It was boring. It was technical. I hated every second of poetry. And then, when I was younger, I had a really hard time, and I had to come to terms with the fact that mental illness was taking control of my life. And at that point, everyone thought they knew what was best for me, and people began to make decisions for me without actually caring what I thought or how I felt. The professionals felt that because they had seen one mentally ill kid, they'd seen every mentally ill kid, and we're not all the same. They took away my voice, and never in a million years did I think that poetry would give me my voice back, but it did. Spoken word poetry gave me an opportunity to stand up for myself and cope with everything that I was going through and stand up to the injustices that I myself was facing. It was a way to put everything down without, harming others. Because when I was younger, I was angry. I hated the world. I was angry at everybody. And poetry gave me an opportunity to voice what I was feeling in a way that was productive rather than harmful. So something that people have asked me when I explain artivism is like, well, why art? You could do anything. You go for psychology, you go for criminal justice. So why art? And to me, I picked art because, really art picked me, but art is universal. Anyone can make art and anyone can understand it. And like the thing about art is that it isn't supposed to be understood the same way by everyone. I think that's a really beautiful thing about it. Everyone interprets art differently. And I realized for me, after I started to gain a little confidence, that I can write in a way that makes people feel a certain way without ever having to tie those feelings to a specific event. It just makes you feel it. And to me, like, it's freeing. To me, it's freeing. And since there's no rules in art, it's just that much more fun because it's all about perception. So I can write something, perceive it a certain way, but Kaylee can read it and perceive it a different way. And I think that's really beautiful about art. And I think it's great, especially for the mental health profession. So, like I said, I started my artivism journey as an ambassador. And I did it for Kaylee Roberts, who is a filmmaker. And Kaylee was super sweet. And I really enjoyed working with her. And I still talk to her. She's great. And, between Kaylee, Professor RG, Carolina, and Dr. Lake, I was convinced to read one of my poems during the event that I was an Artivism ambassador for. And I was dead set against it. I mean, like, dead set against it. But, I mustered up the confidence I needed, and I did read one of my poems. And after the event, everyone told me how beautiful my poem was. And it really helped me with my confidence. For the first time, I felt her doing something that I loved instead of being misheard while doing something that everyone told me I had to do. It was finally something that was mine. And being an Artivism ambassador, it was just the start to finding my voice and also finding myself. When I came to Adelphi, I had no confidence. If you told me when I came here that I'd be doing this, it would have been a whole different conversation. I would have laughed at you. I would have told you there was no way because this isn't me. But, it was one little like drop in the pond that really got things going for me. And after doing the initiative, I gained my confidence. And I was like, I want to do something. And I wanted to start a club. And with encouragement from, again, Professor RG, Dr. Lake, and Carolina, who have been amazing for me, they encouraged me to start the Artivism Club. So with another student, we worked aside the three of them and we created this club. And the Artivism Club, it's a platform for students to become an active force towards social change through all creative expressions. It allows students to find their voice through art and use that voice to create change and transform minds. And I'm very proud of this club. We have done so many great things since we started, and we're just getting started. And I can't wait to see like what this club becomes. We've co-hosted the Clothesline Project with the CJ Club for the past 3 years in a row. And for the past 2 years, we've co-hosted the professional clothing drive, also with the CJ Club. And the professional clothing drive is something I'm really proud of because, you know, the point of the professional clothing drive was to get nice clothes to students because, if you go to a job interview or an internship opportunity and you don't look the part, you don't always get taken seriously. But those clothes, they're not cheap. And it's a lot for college students to buy an outfit that you're going to wear for 3-4 interviews and never wear again. So the clothing drive provides students the opportunity to shop and get free clothes and take as much as they want so they can have better opportunities in their internships and their job interviews. And I'm really proud of that. And I'm really grateful that we get to do it with the Criminal Justice Club. We've always worked really well together. So one of the events that we did for Artivism, we did the immigration and refugee event. I was actually asked to be a moderator for the event, which again, if you had asked me 3 years ago if I would do that, the answer would have been no. But I did it, and this is what Artivism has done for me. It has made me gain confidence. It has given me opportunities, and I'll forever be grateful for that. So me and another student, we had the opportunity to introduce the panelists as well as ask questions that we had come up with ourselves. And the questions were formed from background information, outside research done on the panelists. And what really stuck out to me for the event was it allowed me to connect with like-minded individuals. And it really made me think about the impact that I wanted to have on the world and how I could achieve those goals. Immigration and refugee, it's a hot topic. And I do want to do something with psychology, but I want to do something with law as well. So going to that event helped give me more options for what I might want to do to be the change that I want to see. Another event we did that I'm really proud of, and I hope that we get to continue, was the High Weinberg redecorating event. For Artivism, so on April 12th, we hosted the High Weinberg redecorating event along with the National Student Speech Language Hearing Association and the National Black Society for Speech, Language, and Hearing. And the event was done to create culturally inclusive and diverse artwork to decorate the walls of the High Weinberg Center. So for those of you that don't know, the High Weinberg Center, it's home to the Department of Communication Disorders, and speech pathology is currently the 4th whitest field in the US, and that no longer represents the clientele nor the community with which the field serves. So to combat this and make the community feel more welcome, we made culturally diverse and inclusive artwork. And that was something else that I hope to do again. That was another example of like what art has done for me. It gave me a voice, it gave me a way to communicate, and that's what we wanted to do with the artwork that we put up on the walls, was allow people to feel heard. We see that this profession doesn't reflect who they serve. We want you to be seen, we want you to be heard. And that was a really great event that we had, and it was very successful, and I'm very proud of that event. And it was nice to give back in a way and help people in a way that art has helped me. We also did the Respect Life event on Tuesday, March 21st. We brought Mr. Richards back to campus, and Mr. Richards back was actually a teacher in my middle school. He wasn't my teacher, although I had hoped he would be, but he wasn't. But he was a teacher in my middle school, and he's founder and CEO of the Respect Life Foundation, which was founded in honor of his son Reese, who had tragically drowned in the family's backyard pond a few days before Hurricane Sandy hit. And, Mr. Specht, he had transformed students' minds about science when he was my teacher. And through this foundation in honor of his son, he changes the minds of individuals by changing their perception on kindness and encouraging individuals to cultivate kindness one Reese's piece at a time. And that event meant a lot to me because, people think of kindness and they think, just be nice, but it's so much more than that. It's so much more than just being nice. It's going out of your way. I feel like all too often people do nice things and it's like, oh, that was really nice. That was really heroic. Yes, it was, but that's also just being a decent person. And I feel like, in changing the way people see kindness, we can change the world to be like, we can do nice things for each other without it costing anything. We can do nice things for each other without needing to be constantly reinforced. Doing nice things, it doesn't kill anybody. And he did a really great job using science to explain that to us. And that was a fun event. Yeah. And then recently we just did the Wearable Art for a Purpose fashion show. And that aimed to raise awareness around the horrible conditions that sweatshop workers are forced to work in for close to nothing. We wanted to promote fair trade and speak out against human injustices. So the fashion show was also co-hosted by the CJ Club as well as the Artivism Initiative. And I think we had close to 100 people at that event, which was pretty cool. That's the biggest event that we've ever done. And we spoke out about, you know, sweatshop workers. The Criminal Justice Club had made posters for gun violence. And it was another way we had the Clothesline Project, we had shirts from there to model. And it was nice to see like everybody kind of come together to speak out for something that we all collectively felt was important. And it was another way that art brings people together, and art brings awareness of things. When people think of art, they don't always think of a way to make change or create change or foster change. And, you know, everything that Artivism has done has proven that art is more than just a piece of paper and a pencil. It's a voice, it's a vessel. It's anything that means something. I mean, people don't always think of fashion as art, but fashion is. We used it and we made a difference. We encouraged people to make changes, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, so through the Artivism Club, we've done a lot, and I hope to see us do more. But yeah, sorry. But yeah, being an artivist, it's more than just being someone that does art and says, hey, look at this. It is making a change. It's having your voice be heard. It's giving your voice back to others. And it seems like something so small, but for me, it was something so big. I mean, I don't think I'd be the person that I am now. I have the confidence that I have now if it wasn't for Artivism. If I didn't learn to speak up for myself and I didn't learn to recognize my worth, because I never recognized my worth. I didn't care. I was here. It was cool. We were vibing and it was what it was. But you know, I'm learning how to advocate for myself, and in doing that, I'm learning how to advocate for others. And I would not be able to do that without being an artivist, without having done this initiative, without doing the club. I mean, everything built on top of each other, but I'm so grateful for it because for the first time, and I think ever, I'm actually proud of who I am. And that's huge for me because I've never really had a reason to, as far as I'm concerned. But you know, and I hope that one day I can do this for someone else. Like I always, when you're younger and you're going through hard times, you always want that person. I always said that I would be the person that I needed when I was younger. And I'm finally starting to do that. And I see that in my work every day. I work as a crisis intervention specialist at a group home for developmentally and intellectually disabled individuals. So I'm dealing with behaviors. And I use my artivism for that. I have had them sit down and be like, show me, draw this out, write this down. Let's make something together so that you feel like you've been productive. Show me, because some of my clients are nonverbal and it's even harder. Like, imagine being able to speak and you can't find the words. They can't speak. They can, but not verbally. And not everyone knows how to read behaviors or read body language. And I've had them sit down and be like, let's draw it out. Let's talk it out. Show me what this means to you. And being able to make art and understand it, you know, body language in and of itself is an art. And people don't think of it like that, but it is. And my clients show me that every day. And I know that I am better equipped to understand it because of being an artivist. And that's rewarding because people don't get it, but I love my behaviors. It's so much more rewarding when you build a relationship with these, you know, you walk in, the first thing they do is throw something at you, but then after you build a relationship, it's so much more rewarding to know, like, I can walk in and they'll talk to me. And that's something I wouldn't have been able to do if I hadn't have done this. Because I don't go out of my way to make conversation. I've always been the kid that I stay in my corner and you do you and we can be happy. But now, like, I'm the one that has to come out of the corner and be like, listen, let me help you. And being an artivist, that's where I learned to do this. I truly don't think I would have learned it anywhere else. I don't think there's any training that could have taught me how to do this if I hadn't had the artivist background. And this is my story of being an artivist. And I'm very, like I said, for the first time in my life, I'm actually proud of something that I've done and who I am. And I contribute a lot of that to Professor RG and Dr. Lake and Carolina for pushing me to do this. So yeah, that's kind of it.
Before we give it back to Kaylee, I want you to also mention Felicia's Promise and the Center for Women of New York and you being a part of Occupy Art Project, which was you were amongst the group of international artists presenting at both the Greek and the French consulates of New York City.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. So yeah, through writing my poetry, Dr. Lake and Professor RG have helped me network, and I have written poems for the Center Woman for New York. I can never remember how to pronounce it. But I've written for that. I've written for Felicia's Promise, which is Felicia started her own business, and she helps individuals of color to better their lives and have better opportunities in the future. So for their fundraising event, I wrote a poem for them that was recorded because unfortunately, because of my job, I was not able to be there. But I recorded the poem, and the poem was one of the girls actually did it. One of the girls that she works with read my poem, and that was great because I had met with her shortly before the fundraiser to go over the poem, and she wanted to know, like, Rowan, how do you want me to say this? And I was like, you're gonna hate this answer, but I want you to do it your way. I wrote it, but these are your words. This was for you. Make it your own. And I don't think she was entirely happy with that answer when we first started the conversation. But by the end of it, I could see her confidence grow just from talking to me. And that was something too that I never in a million years did I think that I was going to be the one that would boost someone's confidence. And I did. And that, I remember going downstairs and being like, I made a difference. And that meant everything to me. And then, yeah, for the Occupy Art, I had artwork up in the French and the Greek consulate, along with other international artists. And I unfortunately, again, I didn't get to go because I had to work, because that's always my answer. But that was cool. I know my parents were really proud of that. And again, my poetry started to give me a voice, and I never had confidence in it. And then I posted it. I made the Instagram. I posted it. And my confidence began to grow as people began to like it. And now I'm actually in contract to publish my poetry book. We're working on the internal designs. We're almost done with it. So by the end of this year, it should be published. And that's really cool, because I always said I wanted to write a book, but I was like, no one's actually going to read what I have to write, because who's going to care? Because I don't care. But in doing this, my confidence has grown, and I submitted the manuscript and somebody actually liked it, and it's going to be published. And that's something that I'm really excited about. And there's a lot goes into a book that I didn't realize, but like every step is so exciting. Like even the little things, the teasers, the cover, everything. And it's really exciting for me. I can't wait for the book to come out. But yeah, this, finding my voice has not just given me the opportunity to be the person that I want to be, but it's allowed me to network, and it's allowed me to show other people what I can do, which in turn has showed me what I can do. And that's fun. Looking back, it's just, I'm really proud of the person I've become, because I really in a million years didn't think I would be here. Graduating college, never thought I was going to do. And I've pushed through and I've done it, but I owe a lot of that to my art, because at the end of the day, poetry saved me. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't writing poetry, because poetry came to me at a time when nobody cared. Nobody listened to me. No one cared what I had to say. I didn't matter. It was kind of like, I'm going to say jump and you're supposed to say how high. And at some point I was like, all right, whatever, how high. Poetry really was my light for me. And I hope that my poetry can be that for somebody else.
I remember when I was desperately searching for student ambassadors, and I had known Rowan because you showed up. You made the mistake of showing up for Chalk Up a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, you. And I was like, does anyone do anything artistic? And you're like, no, I don't. I write. And I'm like, you write poetry, you write spoken word. That's art. And you're like, no. I'm like, yeah. So, showing up is 99% of the battle.
It is, because I was always that person where it's like, oh, like, you could take a situation, if it was anyone else, it would be like, yeah, you worked really hard, that's great. But then it's me, and I'm like, I just got here because I'm lucky. I've always been that person. But through, the networking with my poetry and through being an artivist, I've learned that it's not because I'm lucky. I actually am smart, and I am capable, and I am a hard worker. And I do, I show up. But yeah, I showed up for chalk up that one year and we never looked back.
Yeah. I remember like you were over there in the corner, like doing your own thing. And I'm like, you, I was like, do you do art? You're doing art. So that was,
Yeah.
it's really a testament to you going outside your comfort zone and showing up when you were a relatively new transfer student.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the first thing I ever did was chalk up because we were still kind of like online.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do you want to recommend to other students, perhaps, you did the hard work in getting the Artivism Club off the ground, and Kaylee can also testify to it's a lot of work to write the Constitution and to recruit and to hold meetings and arrange for speakers and everything else that you all did. And since you're graduating, there's an opening because we really want this club to keep going. So it's
Yeah,
something
no,
to think about.
The Artivism Club is a great club and it is getting off the ground and things can be rocky, but it's really rewarding and I'm really glad I did it. And I would really love to see it continue because it is a good cause. I know everyone says that about clubs. It's like everyone says my kid's the best and it is what it is, but it's gonna be something. It just needs to keep going. And the thing about Artivism is that because it's based off of art, it can be shaped to meet whatever you need it to be. It's really just like a molding ground for whatever you want. I mean, originally when we set up the Artivism Club, we had set it up so that, if Kaylee had come to Artivism, I was like, sorry, Kaylee, I keep picking on you, but we're friends. So, but if Kaylee had come and said, hey, like this is what, I want to raise awareness for Black Lives Matter. This is what I want to do. Artivism would have backed that and we would have given Kaylee the platform and the supplies that she needed to do that and never would have been like, oh, Artivism is doing it. Always would have been Kaylee is doing this, backed by Artivism. We never would have taken credit, but we would have provided the platform and the supplies and the support that you needed to spearhead a movement. That's what this club was for. And that is what makes this club unique because there's no other club like that. And I really have been hoping for someone to take advantage of that because that's what the club needs. And that's what somebody out there needs that. Somebody out there needs a group of people that will back them to find their voice. So we're just kind of waiting for that person to say, I want to do this.
So if you know anyone, send them our way. Have them show up at a meeting or at the office or wherever, because, it could open up a world. Or if you're interested, if any of you all, I know some of you are graduating, but some of you will be here next year. So RJ, do you want to tell everyone about what's going on next week or what?
Kaylee, I think Kaylee can pick it up from here, correct?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's
It's
okay.
So thank you, Rowan, for being our artivist today. Next Monday on May 8th, Karen Viola will be presenting Regenerating Eco-Literacy. This will be the closing event for the spring of 2023 Artivism season. The Sing for Hope Artivist Award will be announced at this event too. For more information on this and all of the series' past upcoming events, please go visit the website, which I will be pasting in the chat box thing on Zoom. You could also follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. Our handle is Artivism for Shared Humanity, or simply Google Artivism and Adelphi and it should pretty much pop up. Our YouTube channel is Artivism for Shared Humanity 2. Also, if you would like to get more involved in this ongoing initiative, like Dr. Lake said, you could contact us, the Artivism team. I would now like to ask if there are any questions for our artivist. If so, you could use the raise hand feature on Zoom. You could unmute yourself, or if anything, you could also type in the chat box your question.
Any questions? I am so proud of you, Rowan. I am so, so very proud. I've seen how all of this has progressed and, how you take on, initiative and, move full force ahead. I think what I love most about the Artivism Club is the way they collaborate with other clubs. I love the way the CJ Club and the Artivism Club, support each other, and I mean that's what it's all about, really, right? It's not working as individuals; it's all coming together for a common good, really. Any questions or comments?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm still getting new to the public speaking thing. So thank you.
No, it was really good. Good job.
You're doing great.
Yay.
Okay, Stephanie, anything else?
I don't believe so, but for those students who are on and would like to know more, please contact Argy or myself. There are opportunities for internships through a lot of these organizations that we've worked with. So if you want to get more involved and either find your voice or just, have more like-minded folks, or if you want to spread awareness about anything that you feel strongly about, you can contact Kaylee in the CJ Club or Rowan in the Artivism Club. And as I said, there are openings for especially the Artivism Club. And it's a great way to, get more involved and get your, make connections, network, all the things that we talk about especially in the capstone class.
And Rowan, at Artivism, we ask our presenters every week to give us a key takeaway. So what would be your key takeaway for today?
My key takeaway would be don't let yourself hold you back, because that was my biggest issue, is that I let me hold me back, and I always assumed that because it was me, I couldn't do it. And I'm learning a little later than I would have loved to have learned it, but I'm learning that that's not true. If I kind of stop being my own worst enemy and step out of my way, I can do the things that I wanted to do. So I guess that's my takeaway, is don't get in your way. Have some faith in yourself and step out of the way and do what you know how to do, because even if you think you don't, you know what you're doing and you can do it.
Thank you, Rowan. Thank you, Dr. Lake, for always having our back and supporting Artivism from the very beginning. Thank you, Dean Lally, for your support. Our sponsors, Sing for Hope, Adelphi University, and Gottesman Libraries at Teachers College, Columbia University, and to Carolina Cambronero Varela, who couldn't be here today, but she's with us in spirit always, right? Thank you, everyone. Be well. Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank